Hi Rob, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
I'm doing good. So let's start. Can you share the history and origin story of Autogroup International?
Yeah. So the history and the origin story of Autogroup International, or AGI as we refer to it, I think is really cool. So my father started the business just over 30 years ago from Australia, and look, we're 100% Australian owned and always have been. But Dad started the business because he wanted an American pickup truck to be able to drive in Australia. So he flew to the US, bought a early GMC Sierra pickup truck, brought it back to Australia and taught himself how to convert vehicles from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. Now, fast forward 30 years, we are the undisputed world leader in converting American vehicles from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, and we've converted over 4,500 vehicles.
What are the types of vehicles that Autogroup International convert? What makes them stand out and what countries do you export to?
Big question. So the vehicles that Autogroup International converts broadly are SUVs, muscle cars and pickup trucks. So your SUVs, it's things like the Hummer EV, the Yukon Denali, the Toyota Sequoia, the Lincoln Navigator. I'm sure I'm forgetting one or two in there. The Bronco, so a whole range of the large American SUVs. Pickup trucks, we do a huge number of the GMC Sierras, all of the Ford trucks, so the F-250, 350, 450, 550, the Toyota Tundra, the Ram pickup trucks. So huge selection of the pickup trucks. And muscle cars, really there's two choices. You've got the Dodge Challenger or the Chevrolet Camaro, both amazing vehicles. Country-wise, we can export to around 65 right-hand drive countries. We have vehicles in about 40 countries around the world, and we very regularly export to about 20 countries. So anywhere from Australia, the UK, Indonesia, Malaysia, through to South Africa, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, right across the world.
So my next question to you is, why Sri Lanka? How has Sri Lanka contributed to company's success?
Well, why Sri Lanka is a big question, and actually I think it's probably a really important question. So why Sri Lanka? So 20 odd years ago, it was a business decision. We looked at the benefit of the geographical location. Sri Lanka is kind of halfway between North America, where we source all of our vehicles from, and our destination countries, whether that's Australia or Southeast Asia or Africa, etc. So there's a geographical benefit to it. There's also a labour arbitrage benefit in that the cost of labour in Sri Lanka is significantly cheaper from Australia, where we started our business. So there are some very specific business reasons as to why Sri Lanka. I think the big question, probably the more interesting question, is why are we still in Sri Lanka? And that comes down to the people, the culture, the kindness, the pride in the work that our team does. So, and I think it's important to highlight that we've got 175 people here that work for us at Autogroup in Sri Lanka. This is where I live. This is where my dad lives. This is our home. But what is different for me is the pride that our team has, the focus, the level of detail that they put into our vehicles. It's simply something that you can't replace. Now, I've lived and worked around the world, and I know that we can't replicate what we have here, the family. So, we talk about, we're talking about Autogroup International, we talk about the AGI family. And that's the why Sri Lanka piece. So yes, labour, there is a benefit from a labour arbitrage perspective. There's a geographical benefit. Yes, there's been some challenges in Sri Lanka over the years, but we've weathered all of those things. But the question is, why are we here? Why are we not, in some tax haven country or somewhere else? It's because of the people, and it's just magical.
So we all know a team behind a company is very, very crucial. What are the capabilities and expertise of the AGI team?
Look, you're right. The team is critically important, and I think there's a couple of elements that sort of come apart there. The team is one of it, the environment that they work within. So you can't necessarily take team members out and put them somewhere else and expect them to do the same thing. So the team is critical. The work environment that we work within, it's safe, it's happy. We have our own little world here where people are smiling and they're happy and they want to come to work. And that translates to lots of things, but it translates hugely into the quality of the work that we do, which is incredibly complex. The capabilities of our team, I mean, we've got some data. We've got 175 people who work for us here. You know, in the last 30 days, we've hired another 11 people onto our team, and we're still actively hiring. I'm incredibly proud that 30%, 34%, I think, of our professional workforce are women. It's something that's important and something that we focus on hugely. Capabilities, it's extraordinary. I mean, you would think that, and we quite clearly do, we have some quite incredible crew that work in our painting department or our welding department or our mechanics and our electricians and our HVAC, and the list goes on, our plastics team, all of those sorts of things. But equally, it's our engineering firepower, it's our ISO and safety crew, our digital marketing team, our finance team. So the capabilities that operate, or we have operating within our facility, really are quite extraordinary. And I think that to be super clear, Sri Lanka is our head office. This is where we operate, where every single decision is made. So whether that is what vehicle are we going to convert, or how are we going to convert the vehicle, or what marketing we're going to do, or how we do our finance, all of our logistics, it's here. And again, I come back to the point that, you know, of 175 people, I am the only non-Sri Lankan, and I'm extraordinarily proud of that. So it's not like it's me doing everything. I mean, I play my part, and we certainly run as a global professional business with integrity. But when I look around at the team that we have, I'm blown away every day. You know, from our maintenance crew through to our senior leadership crew and everybody in between. We're fortunate. We're fortunate because we are a good employer. We look after our people. We invest in our people. We give back to our community. So we're lucky because people want to come and work with us. And I think beyond that, you know, we've refined our leadership team in recent times. So we've created a workplace culture where, as I said before, we've created a culture where people want to come to work. Now that's important, but it absolutely translates to the quality of the work that we do. And often the quality you can't see. You know, our upholstery team, you can see the work that they do. When we rebuild a dashboard, the stitching is very evident. You can see that work. But what you can't see is the engineering firepower, because it's all hidden underneath it. You can't see the work that our welding crew have done. You can't necessarily see the work that our plastic team have done or our HVAC crew have done. So for me, the quality of what we do comes back to the pride and the happiness of our workforce. So it all kind of intermingles together.
So converting a vehicle sounds like a really complex process. Can you explain to us how it works?
Absolutely. Look, converting a vehicle from left-hand drive to right-hand drive is extraordinarily complex. It's not like you can jump on YouTube, download a manual, or indeed get any assistance from the OEM manufacturer. So, and I'll give you a few examples. So in the last 12 months alone, we have, you know, as we always do, world first, things like the Ford F-150 Lightning, the 2024 GMC Sierra pickup trucks, the new Ford F-250 and 350 Hummer EV, I'm sure the list goes on. So we get a brand new vehicle that arrives here, and our team needs to be able to work out how to convert that from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. Now, it is not easy, and to give people a sense, there are about roughly 500 components that we change in each vehicle, and that's where the strength and indeed the depth of our team really comes into play. So we've got 33, 34 engineers in our crew, so mechanical and electrical engineers, a research and development team, production engineering. The reason that we need 30 plus engineers is not because, you know, we like to have lots of engineers, although they are a very cool group of people. We need them to be able to design and then create and then indeed convert the vehicles that we work with. So, and really that's the essence of what we do. It is extraordinarily complex. I mean, we are a full-fledged automotive manufacturer. We are playing with major systems in a vehicle, you know, steering, braking, all of the technology, obviously the physical elements of the dashboard, the list goes on. So, you know, converting a vehicle from left-hand drive to right-hand drive is not something that you do in a shed. It's not something that you do loosely. And I guess a key demonstration of the fact is that there are really only 2 or 3 companies that are our peers anywhere on the planet. And that is because it is extraordinarily complex. Now, it's complex for a couple of reasons. Obviously, the engineering element. So let's pick the Hummer EV or the Ford F-150 Lightning or the GMC Sierras. Literally, it's our engineering team alongside our production team. So you've got to remember our production team and indeed our engineering team have got the actual real world experience of converting 4,500 vehicles and having done it for 30 years. So we're not pretending we know what we're doing. We are the experts at what we're doing. But it takes a large team, a significant amount of time to be able to understand the vehicle, to reverse engineer the components that are needed to be converted, for us to go through our manufacturing process and ultimately transform a vehicle to right-hand drive. So there's a big distinction between, as I say, doing it in a shed in the backyard, probably like we did 30 years ago, to doing it today where the vehicles have to achieve our ISO 9000 2015 quality assurance. We tick our conformity of production box. All the vehicles are homologated and go through their ADR compliance. So it is extraordinarily complex, but we have the team and the actual experience to be able to convert a vehicle, which is in fact why there are some vehicles we just simply won't convert. I'll give you a good example. We don't convert the new Cadillac Escalade. Now, if we could convert them, we would sell a huge number of the vehicles. But our engineering firepower, and indeed our 30 years of actually being in this business, tells us that to do that, the vehicle would be unsafe. And that's a moral responsibility that we take pretty seriously, both as a corporate and indeed as a family. The reality is with all of our vehicles, they are vehicles. They are going to have people in them, maybe my family, your family. They're going to be going down a motorway or an expressway at 100 kilometers an hour. You need to ensure that all the systems work. Braking, safety, lane change, all of the tech. And there are some vehicles, like the Cadillac Escalade, where we simply deem it to be unsafe. And that's with our level of expertise. So we don't convert everything or anything. We're very selective on the vehicles that we convert. It does, for the first vehicle, often take many months for us to convert the first unit because it's done properly. And then when we move into production, we're knocking vehicles out in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question.
Are there any specific challenges or technical aspects that make the vehicle conversion process particularly intricate?
Look, there are quite literally hundreds of small, sometimes large, processes or design elements that make every single conversion complex and intricate. So it could be as simple as having to redesign the door switch panel. So if you think of a left-hand drive vehicle, you're sitting on the left-hand side of the car. On the side of the door, you've got your 4 switches so you can control the windows going up and down, moving that switch panel from the left-hand side to the right-hand side. Now that's not a simple case of just moving it. That piece actually has to be redesigned. The wiring loom needs to be rewired, so you've got 4 wires over on this side rather than on this side. And that process alone within Autogroup probably goes through a dozen or 15 sets of people, from our electrical engineers through our reverse engineering and 3D scanning team. So as a simple example of one component, the door switch panel we take out of the left-hand drive vehicle, our design studio team, who are all extraordinarily talented engineers, they use a 3D scanner to scan the actual plastic component. We then flip that using quite advanced software tools and AI tools, so we end up with a 3D model of the right-hand drive version. We then produce the design using 3D printing to ensure that we end up with a perfect match, and we then take that 3D print and it then goes into production. So we have quite an advanced plastic manufacturing capability, a small scale, high quality plastic manufacturing capability, so we would then go and produce the replica door switch panel for the right-hand side. So that is a simple example of what is in effect a singular piece of plastic that we need to move from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, let alone our electrical engineering team and indeed our electricians that need to rerun the wiring loom, and the list goes on. So every component that goes into conversion really is quite intricate and complex. We roughly per vehicle, there's about 500 parts that are impacted by a conversion. Now, some of those are quite major. So steering systems, of course, are a pretty significant impact. You need to ensure that from a mechanical engineering perspective, they are designed correctly. And again, it's not one of those things that, backyard Bob can do in his shed. It is something that you need serious engineering firepower. And I kind of, we've got awesome engineers, extraordinarily talented crew, but I don't have 30 odd engineers because they're cool people, and they are. We have them because we need them, to safely convert a vehicle. And again, I come back to the point, it is a vehicle. It is a vehicle that is going to be traveling very quickly, often with people's families in it. You need to ensure that it is designed, engineered, manufactured, and converted correctly. And for me, that is the essence of what we do. And it is all about the details. It's not the superficial element of, here's a nice looking dashboard. That is important, but it's what you don't see. It's the intellect and the actual experience. And again, for me, I always come back to this point. My family has been doing this for 30 years, 4,500 vehicles. There is nobody else that has that level of expertise. And then I think that the side element to there is the element of integrity. We take it very seriously, every vehicle we convert. And, in a way, selling a vehicle, one of our right-hand drive vehicles, is a great thing. We need to do it. It pays the bills. It's what we do. But actually, for us, it's all about the customers that come back each year, or indeed the customers that buy from us every month. That is the art of doing it properly. And it's the attention to the detail. All 500 or whatever it is parts that go into a conversion.
We all know quality and safety are paramount when it comes to converted vehicles. Tell us a bit about how AGI go about ensuring this.
Look, quality and safety are absolutely paramount when converting a vehicle from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. We're not talking about, putting an accessory on a vehicle. We are talking about major open heart surgery on a vehicle. So I look at it from a few different dimensions. First of all, let's take the analogy of open heart surgery. If you're going to do it, you want the best. You want a surgeon that's actually qualified and done the operation a few hundred or a few thousand times. So that's one perspective. I think another way that it manifests is where our vehicles go to. So we talk about our vehicles being ISO 9001-2015 compliant. They're fully homologated for our international markets, and they're also ADR compliant. Now, ADR is the Australian Design Rules, which are a set of rules that all vehicles must pass to enable them to be able to be imported into Australia. Now, you might say, well, hang on, why is ADR and ISO, why are these things important to me? I live in a country where they don't necessarily need to have those boxes ticked. Why that's important is that it ensures that all the vehicles that we manufacture are manufactured to an incredibly high standard. So, and it's not easy. So there are very few left-hand drive to right-hand drive conversion companies in the world. There are even fewer that is able to convert the vehicle overseas. In our case, we convert them in Sri Lanka and then import them into Australia. And that comes down to the 25 people who work across our quality and our safety team. So our ISO team, our quality control team, our documentation team. So it is absolutely at the heart of what we do. And again, do we need 20 or 30 people working in quality and safety? Yeah, absolutely we do. And it really does highlight the difference. And one of them, a lot of conversion is superficial. You look at the dashboard and yes, that looks good. The steering wheel's over there. It used to be over there. Great. But it is the case of what you don't see. And I guess the thing that you have with a vehicle that Autogroup has converted is that you know that it complies to the toughest standards in the world. If we can convert our vehicles that they're able to go into Australia legally, safely, be registered, be insured, all of those sorts of things, then honestly, that's the vehicle that you want in any country that you happen to be in. And the reason that you want that absolute guaranteed level of quality and safety is because, again, I come back to the point. Your family is in a vehicle. You are traveling at 100 kilometers an hour. Maybe if you've got it a muscle car, you're going even faster. But safety is critical. It is not the thing that you do in, your backyard. Not with modern vehicles, not with the technology that sits within the vehicles. You need to make sure that you are doing everything properly, thoroughly, and to an incredibly high level, which is why, our vehicles are shipped into Australia, incredibly tough. Into the UK, incredibly tough. South Africa, incredibly tough. It's because of those safety and quality standards that we adhere to. Now, we don't necessarily need those into some of the other geographies that our vehicles move to, but I know for an absolute fact that our customers love, the reassurance, the fact that the vehicle is actually safe, that it's not been, dodgy brother engineered or put together with a piece of string. Or, we've seen organisations out there buying spare parts from car wrecking yards. It's crazy. So for me, quality and safety is the absolute foundation of what we do, and indeed what we've always done.
We all love a good success story. What are you doing right now and have done in the past to create yours?
Look, we have lots of success stories, and give you an example. In the last 12 months, we were the first in the world to convert the Ford F-150 Lightning, which is the EV pickup truck. We're the first in the world to convert the GMC Sierra 2500 and 3500 pickups. They're beautiful. First in the world to do the Ford Bronco a couple of years ago. Obviously the Hummer EV SUV. So they are success stories, and they come from the depth of experience, the capability, and indeed the talent of our team. So there's a success story. I think another success story is weathering the challenges that we've all faced, and particularly here in Sri Lanka over the last few years through COVID and then, the financial crisis. So there is another success story. I think there's lots of personal success stories that we have with our team who are developing and learning new skills and creating new opportunities. And I think probably the last part of our success story is how we're able to give back to our community. And something we don't talk about, we don't need to talk about it, it's what we do. We do it within our AGI family. So for me, I measure success in a whole different series of realms when it comes to the vehicle platforms that we are converting and doing so beautifully, legally and safely. I measure success in weathering the storm over the last few years. I measure success in the fact in the last month we've hired 12 more people. That's an incredible element of success. I measure success in the fact that we support our community. So success really does sit across a whole group of different areas. But what I do know is that the success that we've had, indeed the success we've had over those 30 years of growing the business, learning, develop, expanding, I know that what's coming next is super cool. And probably the biggest, a cool part of our success in the last months has been the release of our specialty vehicles. And our specialty vehicles are both our bulletproof or armoured vehicles and also our luxury CEO interior vehicles. So this is where we're taking a GMC Yukon Denali or a GMC Sierra pickup truck. Now, normally we convert those from left-hand drive to right-hand drive, but using the skill and the capability within our team here, so engineering, production, all of the crew, we're now providing full armouring services on those SUVs and pickup trucks. And on the SUV, the Yukon Denali, we're actually transforming the interior with a beautiful bespoke CEO interior. So that's a great success story where we're leveraging our experience, our intellectual property, the skills of our team to be able to create new products. And ultimately, that's a success for the country that we call home. So we live here in Sri Lanka. Our team is Sri Lankan. Team AGI is Sri Lankan. So the vehicles that we sell, the revenue that we create, the tax that we pay in Sri Lanka is all helping the country where, well, in my case, I choose to live, and indeed my dad's case, where he's chosen to live for many, many years. So success is measured in a whole bunch of areas. Being the first in the world in something is actually irrelevant. You can be the first at something and do a bad job. And I come back to something I mentioned earlier. For me, it's about, and the good analogy is the surgeon. Success for us is surgery where the patient survives and gets better. And in our world, it's a case of being able to take a vehicle platform and convert it from left-hand drive to right-hand drive. And we've got more vehicles coming. Our R&D team are constantly looking at what new platforms we're about to do. So maybe an exclusive, but the Dodge Durango, we're working on one now. So it will be the first ever Dodge Durango, which is a super cool SUV. Hellcat version is super cool. It'll be the first in the world. So that's something that is a success. Well, it will be successful in the next few weeks or month or two. But that for me is a measure of success, not just the number of vehicles. And look, 4,500 vehicles that we, my family and our team have actually converted, that is a success. The fact that we've been in business for 30 years, in the left-hand drive to right-hand drive conversion business for 30 years, that is a success. The fact that we've weathered all sorts of storms over those 30 years, whether they're economic or geopolitical or, people stealing our intellectual property. We have weathered all sorts of nonsense over those years. We're here and we are growing. But the success for me is beyond that. It's the people, it's the opportunity, it's the community that we're able to help.
In a competitive industry, what sets Autogroup International apart from other companies in the same field?
It is a competitive industry in one way, but actually, in the way that I see it, it's actually not all that competitive. So there are 2 or 3 companies around the world, most of them are in Australia, maybe all of them in Australia, who are incredibly good at what they do. They're like us. They take quality seriously. They take safety seriously. They are highly experienced. They're capable. They convert and build beautiful cars. So, and they're a competitor. I respect them. And yes, they will win some business and we will win some business, but we've been doing that together for many, many years. There are others out there who, well, they're not competitors. There's a simple reality of it. They're just simply not at the level of capability, focus, dedication. So, and again, we sort of roll back to, yes, we've got ISO 9001, 2015, and it is so much more than a little red tick in a box. It influences the safety of our vehicles. We have our ADR compliance, again, Australian design rules. It means that the vehicles that we convert can legally be imported into Australia, which means they are of extraordinarily high quality and safety. Now, again, it might not be important or you might not need that for the country in which you operate, but knowing that the vehicles are built and converted to that level is absolutely critical. Things like conformity of production. So we have an entire team that is focused on ensuring that every component that we build, pick a component, that when we build that component, it is designed, engineered and tested, and every time we manufacture it, it is exactly the same. That is how large-scale automotive manufacturers work. It's not Bob in the back shed making a part and hoping it's going to fit. It is a serious professional element. So we do work in a competitive space, but actually when people truly analyze and look at the vehicles that we convert, the systems that we have, the pedigree, the real experience, actually it's not a competitive industry at all. We see competitors come and go. And again, 30 years in the business, we've seen it all, we've heard all the noise, and multiple countries over the last 30 years, there have been competitors, but the reality is they come and go. It is hard work. Warranty is another example. You're talking about very expensive vehicles that have major surgery done to them. It is the conversion company, us, that provides that warranty. Do you want that warranty? Do you trust it is a question. Does the company have spare parts? What happens if you're in Malaysia or you're in South Africa or Cyprus or the UK or Australia and you need a spare part? How the hell is that going to come to you? Do they have it in stock? So for me, we have competition, but my sense of our actual competition is one of our customers choosing to buy a Porsche or a Ferrari rather than looking at an alternative right-hand drive conversion facility, because frankly, they just basically don't exist.
Looking towards the future, are there any exciting plans or developments Autogroup International?
Oh, look, there's some incredibly exciting plans, awesome plans coming up. So we are growing. We've spent the last few years getting through COVID, getting through the crisis that we had in Sri Lanka, investing in our team, hiring new people, bringing in technology, sorting out some staffing challenges. But the future for us is incredible. We've got 175 people. Our strategic plan puts us at probably 500 people in the coming years. I can see new vehicle platforms coming down that our R&D team are working on. I can see new geographic markets that we will be entering. I can see the likelihood. We've got a pretty impressive facility here today, a massive facility, state of the art. We have quite literally, my family has spent millions of US dollars building the facility, but I can absolutely see a place not very far away where we need a much bigger operation and quite possibly have additional facilities, additional factories in other countries. So the next 3 years for me is incredibly exciting. Good things happen every single day, not only in terms of the vehicles that we're selling or the number of vehicles that we're selling or all of our sort of performance matrix that we look at, but what I feel as well is that our cultural change in the business, the new team that we have flooding into it, the very intelligent and capable crew, and again, whether that is team in our production area or indeed in our engineering area or our professional environments, we are creating something that's truly extraordinary. Again, this is a professional corporate business that builds incredible quality vehicles. Not Bob in the backyard knocking out vehicles and pretending that they know what the hell they're actually doing. It comes back to safety, it comes back to quality, it comes back, I think, ultimately to integrity. Buying these vehicles are not cheap. A conversion is not cheap. Often by the time you then import the vehicle into a country and you pay your duty, you're talking about a significant amount of money. So for us, it comes back to the quality, the design of what we do, but we know that we have that absolutely nailed. The team that we have here, my team, the AGI family that we have gives me immense belief in what is going to occur over the next 6, 12, 18 months, going on to the next 2 or 3 years. We've got some incredible plans, incredible vehicles that are coming through, some pretty cool stuff that we're working on with some of our partners in North America. It's going to be super cool. And thank you for the 10 questions. I really enjoyed answering them. For me, there's a couple of key things to probably finish off this conversation with. So we're incredibly proud of the fact that we have for 30 years been the world leader in converting vehicles. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Incredibly proud that our facility is here in Sri Lanka. And honestly, I'm excited that this is where I live. I'm excited that the contribution we make to Sri Lanka in terms of the taxes that we pay, the employment that we create, the incredibly skilled people that we have working within our team. We've got an incredibly bright future. We are hiring people, so if there's anybody in Sri Lanka who is watching this today, if you happen to be an engineer or you want to come and work in our quality team or you want to come and work in our production environment, then hit up careers@autogroup.com because we are growing. We need smart, dedicated, capable people to come and join the AGI family. If you're looking at buying a vehicle, then reach out to us on our socials, jump on and subscribe to YouTube, look us up on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Check us out on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn's pretty important so you can actually see the pedigree of the people in the business. So don't just look at Facebook and IG, go and do a bit of LinkedIn stalking to see actually who the hell it is you're actually talking to. And I guess my last part is come and say hello. We're about 45 minutes from the airport in Colombo. And even today, we had a customer fly in because they're looking at buying some vehicles for us. So I guess that's probably my message. Come, if you're looking at buying a vehicle, talk to us, email us, check us out on our socials, check us out on LinkedIn, but come and visit the factory, come and meet the team. Because not only will you see all of the vehicles that we're converting, you get to meet the team. And I tell you what, I am not the highlight. The highlight is the crew that we have here and the expertise and the capability. So that's, I guess, my big takeaway. Yes, we're excited about our future. Our origin is awesome. You know, we are and still have always been 100% Australian owned. But if you want to, if you're seriously looking at buying a vehicle, then give us a call or connect with us via our social media channels. Jump on an aeroplane and come and say hello. Come and spend half a day and see exactly how all of these things that I've talked about, our people, our quality control, our ISO, our engineering capability, our design studio, come and see how that all comes together, because, I don't know, the saying is the proof is in the pudding. So come to us and meet the crew, see the vehicles, and understand why we are, why we're pretty good at what we do. Why we have a global warranty, why customers keep coming back to us buying year after year. We've got so many customers that are on their 5th, 6th, 7th or 8th vehicle because they've been buying from us for 30 years. That is pretty unique. So follow us on socials. If you've got any questions, DM, email, send us a fax. We're here to answer them, and hopefully we'll see a few of you here at our facility in Sri Lanka. Cheers.